The Vinyl Jukebox merch store is now open for business, plus What's Been Spinning, vinyl, and CDs, all here on this week's Friday mixtape. What's up, everyone? It's Ben from the Vinyl Jukebox, and I'm back after a week off of battling the flu. You could probably still hear it in my voice, but I'm back, and I have some great new announcements for you today. So, as you guys could probably see, the merch came in. So the Vinyl Jukebox merch store is now open and ready for business. We have t-shirts, hoodies, crew neck sweatshirts, all that good stuff. We also have great die-cut vinyl stickers. See, I stuck this one on my Yeti. No, we don't have Yetis, but we do have the stickers, so you can put one on your Yeti if you'd like. These are all on the merch store. I'll put a link down in the description below for you guys. Please help out and support. These shirts look really cool. The quality is really nice, and I love how they're printed on. It's, not that cheap printing that you get when, you get like some kind of bootleg or cheap t-shirt. It's really nicely printed on, and the t-shirt is super comfortable. I just got it today, actually. Sweatshirt, I'm still waiting to get, so you'll see that probably in the next video. But I'm going to open up the merch store so you guys can definitely check out all that merch. I have a bunch of different colors available. This is the graphite color for the t-shirts. I also have black. I also have more of like a tan color that goes with one of our logos. So definitely check it out and support if you can, and post up your pictures online, tag the Vinyl Jukebox. I definitely want to see you guys in this merch. Next, I wanted to give a special shout out and plug for my wife Samantha and her new book, Daisy Wallpaper. This just came out a few weeks ago, and I actually just finished reading this, and I have to say that this is Samantha's best book yet. She's had 2 other books self-published. They're both available on Amazon. This one's available on Amazon as well. Just search up Daisy Wallpaper and you'll find it. And this is just a phenomenal book of poetry. If you're a fan of poetry, no matter what level you are, I think that you'll enjoy this. It's basically inspired by the first 30 years of a person's life, and I think that this poetry goes very deep, and it's humorous at times, and it's very emotional at times, and I just think it's phenomenal. I had a great time reading it. I think you guys will too, so definitely check out Daisy Wallpaper by Samantha Apicella. You can find this on Amazon. I'll put a link below as well to it. Now, I wanted to spend some time showing you guys some of the music that I've been listening to over the past week. Like I said, I've been sick with the flu, so it's given me a lot of time to listen to a lot of music and revisit a lot of things that I haven't listened to in quite a while. So let's just get right into it. I did do a lot of CD listening over the past week, and I wanted to start off by showing actually a new pickup of mine. Now, I've been going through a bit of a Judas Priest kick lately, and I realized that I had a lot of their newer albums, but I didn't have a lot of the classic old albums. So I picked up on Amazon Judas Priest, the original album classics, and this is a really cool mini box set where it basically gives you just the bare bones, like, paper sleeve. I wouldn't even call them digipacks, but just like, I guess, vinyl sleeve replicas. They're not even printed the best, but it's basically, if you don't have these albums, it's a great thing to start with. So we have the albums Sin After Sin, we have British Steel, we have Turbo, we have Angel of Retribution, and we have Painkiller. Now, the only one that I haven't listened to yet is Angel of Retribution, but the others I've had a great time with. Some of them I've listened to before, some of them I've heard most of the songs before, and some of them were completely new to me. Sin After Sin was really the big one for me, and I know the Judas Priest fans out there will be like, oh man, yeah, how could you have not heard Sin After Sin? Haven't heard it until this week, and I have to say it's probably one of my favorite Judas Priest albums after listening to that. So that was just a phenomenal set. I'm really glad that I picked it up, and I definitely want to pick up, maybe the deluxe editions of those albums, maybe vinyl editions of those albums. Now that I know I love them, now it's time to dive a little deeper into that catalog. So awesome pickup for sure. Next up, I was in the mood to listen to some Lynyrd Skynyrd, so I took out Lynyrd Skynyrd God and Guns. This is from the This is one of the newer Lynyrd Skynyrd albums. This one released in, what was this, 2009? Yep, 2009. I love this album. It was phenomenal, very modern sounding, country influence for sure, but definitely a good listen and definitely showcases that new Skynyrd band. I was really just listening to new Skynyrd. Edge of Forever, this one is from, I think, 1999. Yep, 10 years earlier than that, 1999. This one's a really good album, phenomenal. Kind of gets lost in the catalog a little bit. This one, another newer Skynyrd album from 97, 20. Just awesome. I think this was the first one with Ricky Medlock in the band. But I love these newer Lynyrd Skynyrd albums. I think that the band, as it is today, is very underrated in terms of their original songwriting ability. I wish they would play more of that stuff live. I saw them a couple years ago. They played, I think, one newer Skynyrd song. Other than that, it was all the old stuff, which is great, and I know that people come to hear that, but I do love the newer stuff too. And that led me to take out some Blackfoot. Blackfoot Medicine Man. This is their 1991 album. I think this album's phenomenal. Ricky Medlock put a new version of the band together and basically brought back the heavy sound of Blackfoot that everybody knew and loved from the 70s, the 80s. It got a little synthy, a little 80s sounding, but this album definitely brings back that heavy, hard rockin' sound of Blackfoot, so love that. Took out some Stone Temple Pilots, Shangri-La Da. Love this album. This was the last before the breakup, and then, you know, they got back together and did the self-titled years later. But I love this album. This one's phenomenal. It's got songs like Days of the Week, Hollywood Bitch, Two Cool Queenies, probably my favorite on this album, a deep cut, good stuff. Next, I took out some Megadeth, and I realized there's a huge hole in my collection in terms of Megadeth. This is the only Megadeth album I have, their most recent release, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. This one came out, I believe, last year, the year before, yep, 2022, so 2 years ago. But this was awesome. This got me into a bit of a Megadeth kick, and I was streaming a lot of their music, Peace Sells, you know, albums like that. So I definitely need to pick up some copies of some Megadeth for sure. Next up, I was kind of all over the place with my listing, as you guys will see, and especially from the vinyl I'm about to show. But we got George Thorogood live. Love George Thorogood. I saw him live, and there's nothing like a George Thorogood concert. Everybody's up and dancing. He's got the crowd by the throat the whole time. It's phenomenal. He is such a great performer, and you really hear this on the live album from 1986 for sure. Playing hits like Who Do You Love, I Drink Alone, One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. I mean, awesome. I mean, he sounds just phenomenal on this album. And then next, I went in a totally different direction. Pulled out some White Zombie, La Sexorcisto, Devil Music Volume 1. I mean, this is one of the classic White Zombie albums. I love Rob Zombie. I love White Zombie. Probably a little more lately I like White Zombie just because they're a little weirder, but I especially love the imagery here. But you know, you got his hit song Thunder Kiss 65, which is still a staple in Rob Zombie's set list lately. Black Sunshine's another great one. Cosmic Monsters Inc., love that one, so great stuff on this one. All right, that's it for the CDs, and now the moment you've all been waiting for, we have the vinyl. All right, I just picked this one up, and as you guys probably saw from a couple videos ago, I got the most recent Jimi Hendrix box set as a present for the holidays. So I've been on a bit of a Jimi Hendrix kick lately, and I didn't have this one in my collection. This is The Cry of Love. This was the first posthumous release from Hendrix, recorded right before he died at Electric Lady Studios. And you know, the box set is basically the demos for this album, and you know, I wanted to pick up this album in particular because I figured these are really the final versions of these songs. You know, songs like Freedom, Easy Rider, In From the Storm is just a heavy, phenomenal song. I love that one. Just great album. Really cool release. I think goes very underrated in his catalog for sure because, you know, even though it was released after he died, this is what he was working on as, you know, as he was about to release that double album before he passed. So that was a cool pickup, and I've really been enjoying that. Pulled out some Grand Funk. Saw Mark Farner last month, I believe it was. But yeah, just been listening to Grand Funk a lot lately, and I love this album, Closer to Home. Just phenomenal. Back to some Judas Priest. I mean, the classic. I've had this one for a little while, Screaming for Vengeance. Pulled this one out for one of the vinyl tag videos that I did. So I've just been listening to this one, and this one of my favorites for sure. But now that I'm hearing some of the other Priest albums, this one has definitely got some competition, but this one still might be up top for me. And next up, always listening to Grateful Dead, always have them in my rotation. I pulled out some American Beauty. This is just, you know, the classic. This and Working Man's Dead are probably my two favorite Grateful Dead studio albums, so pulled this one out. Definitely a great early morning, mellow out sort of album. Next up, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. I pulled this one out for the albums from 1975 video that I did, the 50-year-old albums, and I really wanted to give this one a spin. This is just a great album. It's heavy, it's Ronnie James Dio is just sounding phenomenal on this one. Ritchie Blackmore's guitar playing is great. I love this one. Next up, I felt like listening to some Stones, but I didn't really know which album I wanted to listen to, so I decided to pull out a comp. So we got my favorite Rolling Stones comp, Made in the Shade. I love the artwork on this one, and I love the track selection. You got Brown Sugar, Tumbling Dice, Happy, Dance Little Sister, Wild Horses, just skipping around here, Bitch, It's Only Rock and Roll, Do 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 Do, Heartbreaker, Rip This Joint. I mean, just great songs, and definitely cool that they put some deeper cuts on this one for sure from the 70s. Next up, this is another one from the video that I just did, Deep Purple's Come and Taste the Band. Great album. The one without Ritchie Blackmore, with David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes in the band. Excuse me, like I said, still getting over this flu. But, you know, you got some great songs on this album. You know, you have, what do you have on this one? Lady Luck, Coming Home, Dealer, Love Child. This time, I mean, come on, this album is just phenomenal. Tommy Bolin plays his ass off on this album. I love this one. Probably my favorite Deep Purple album, non-Ritchie Blackmore. So I guess, you know, that would count out all the Steve Moore stuff, but I'm not really much of a big fan of the Steve Moore stuff. I mean, it's good, but better. All right, next up, I felt like pulling out this classic. I felt like listening to a classic, and what better classic than David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, and the Spiders from Mars. I mean, what's more to say about this album? I mean, you guys know. But this is an original copy. I know these are a little harder to come by these days, but this one sounds phenomenal, and definitely best played loud. It even says that on the cover, to play at maximum volume. Next up, it was one early morning. I wasn't feeling too well with my flu, and I wanted something nice and light, something easygoing. So I decided to pull out some John Lee Hooker. This is Live at the Cafe A Go Go. This was a Black Friday Record Store Day release, not this year, but last year. Really intimate show that he played here. You could hear the crowd a little bit. It's not too distracting, but he's just in his prime for this show. And you know, you just get great John Lee Hooker here, you know, playing great songs like I'm Bad, like Jesse James. What else? I know there's some like bigger hit songs on this album. One Bourbon with Scotch, One Beer. Never Get Out of These Blues Alive. I mean, and this one just sounds phenomenal. They did a great job with this release, the Blues Way, you know, reproduction that they were trying to do. So awesome stuff. Next up, preparing for another video that I'm going to be doing, but I'm not going to say what it is, but you might be able to figure it out. But I pulled out John Fogerty's Center Field. Great solo album. Hadn't really listened to this in a very, very long time. And forgot how good this album is. I mean, I wouldn't say Creedence good, but John Fogerty definitely holds his own on this one. You know, other than, I mean, I think Center Field, the song is pretty played out itself, but there's some other really great tracks on this album. And lastly, an album that I never listened to, but I did have in my collection. A lot of my collection I did inherit from my father. And so this is one that I had, but I had never listened to. This is John Cougar Mellencamp's Scarecrow. And let me tell you right now, I love this album. I thought that this was phenomenal. I played this twice in a row. You know, from the first song, Rain on the Scarecrow, which is probably my favorite on the album, to, you know, classic songs like Small Town and ROCK in the USA, Rock in the USA, whatever you want to call it. This is just a phenomenal release from John Cougar Mellencamp. And like I said, preparing for a future video, so stay tuned on that. But definitely glad I checked this out, and I could definitely see myself getting into a bit of a John Mellencamp phase definitely sometime soon. All right, everybody, there you have it. That was this week's Friday mixtape. And let me know in the comments below, what have you been listening to lately? CDs, vinyl, 8-track, cassette tapes, whatever it may be. Let me know what you've been listening to. I'd love to hear it, love to have that conversation. And definitely check out the merch page. We got lots of great stuff. Hopefully there's something out there for you. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment below this video. Subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. I'll see you next time, everybody.